this as a community. Whatever you do isn't just affecting you. Whatever you do here in Wisconsin is going to affect me in Oregon somehow, because we're all interconnected. I can't hit my finger with a hammer without the rest of me going, "Ah!" We're this connected body. If someone walks up to you and says, "I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, you better knock it off." It's like, I thought nobody saw me. The Ruach, the Spirit flowing around within this whole trellis, might have given somebody else some kind of a word to come and ask you to please correct your behavior, lest the entire body suffers. It does work that way. So these three work together. Samachai and Pei. These are the three in the white area. So if we have blue, purple, red, and white linen, these three are the white linen, which are the righteous deeds of the saints. And what are the righteous deeds of the Kodoshim? The Kodoshim Elyon, which is what it says in Daniel, the set apart unto the Most High. It's doing what he said in the Torah. You choose life. Quit acting like you belong to the pirates of death. You learn the Torah. You had to separate leaven from unleavened, like separating water from water on day of 2 of creation. So you have to separate the things that you find to be fun and interesting, that were fun and interesting on the outside when you're in the kingdom of darkness. Now that you're in the kingdom of life, you have to put yourself, as it were, on the altar and say, okay, I volitionally, willingly give those things up that don't belong in this kingdom. Okay, I'm not going to listen to that music anymore. I'm not going to eat that food anymore. I'm not going to work on those days anymore. I'm not going to party with those friends anymore. I'm now going to yield myself as a free sacrifice on this altar unto Yod He Vav He, and condition my heart to do things echad, one with him. The same way Yeshua did. That's the spring feast. So then in the fall we say, okay, so what do I do now? How do I live? You do the things he said to do. You then walk out day by day, attitude by attitude, thought by thought, hope by hope. Hey, what'd you do that for? Oh, sorry about that, didn't mean to yell at you, but now you have to deal with your neighbor. Your associate. That's where this plays out. Bearing fruit, assessing the value of the fruit. Looks like we need a little more water. Looks like we need a little more nitrogen in the soil. Looks like we need a little more this or that to tend the vine. And remember, Yeshua said, if you guys keep bearing bad fruit, I'm going to break you off and throw you into the fire. He said that in the book of Revelation. Just because, hey, I'm one of the branches on the vine, doesn't mean that you can't be extinguished. And I say it doesn't mean you can't be extinguished, because in the book of Revelation, chapters 1 through 3, where he talks about this menorah, that the vision John saw, and Yahushua's holding 7 stars in his hand. It's like, what's the mystery of these 7 stars? Where the word for star is kakav, kaf, kaf, vav, bet. And if you look at the word in the dictionary for kaf, vav, bet, it means to extinguish, fire extinguisher. Well, stars can't be extinguished. Oh, yes, they can. A star in the sky can go out. You, being a branch of his menorah, can be plucked off, snuffed out, thrown into the fire if you produce bad fruit. How do you know you're producing bad fruit? Because your fruit's going to be weighed and measured. And he said, lining up with this place in the pattern, with the measure you use, it'll be measured to you. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. You need to have your fruit be merciful and kind to one another. And if you're not merciful and kind to one another, you can be broken off and thrown into the fire. He's going to determine of what value to his crop are you. Nobody has, everything's cool for the rest of my life. We need to keep diligent at this business of being his people in his kingdom, bearing his fruit.
That goes back to the whole casual thing too, if you're, you know.
There's no place along this route that we can be casual.
So now, how does that line up with the, okay, you did the menorah, but what about the incense, the altar of incense, and then the
That lines up
showbread?
with this pay, Sukkot. That lines up with the altar of incense.
Okay, and then the showbread is the Yom Kippur.
Yes.
Now, how does the showbread line up with that per se?
Well, the word bread is panim. Panim is also faces. Faces, I mean, this is like a rectangular table with two piles or two stacks of bread. It almost looks like a mask. You know, you can look at a guy here. It's like, you know, who is that masked man? The point is, lechem panim, or panim lechem, faces of bread. That's the term for that, what was on that table. Faces. What's going to be weighed and measured? Who you really are. Your pretense, your masquerade, your appearances. He knows what's really going on, and that's what's weighed and measured. Yom Kippur is all about, gee, I didn't do that on purpose, but did I even care? Or what am I trying to do? What's my motive, my intention, my behind this? It's like, oh gosh, he who lays your soul bare and knows what's going on. It's like, oh, before him we should... The masks come off, and that's what's weighed and measured. And it's like, oh gosh, please forgive me, not only for what people see on the outside, but for what corruption is happening in here. Even Yeshua mentioned about these religious leaders of his own day. You guys are like clean, bright, marble, white sepulchres, but inside you're full of dead men's bones and all unfilthiness, or filthiness, uncleanness. It's like we could be those same people walking around. So the Yom Kippur detective balance of scales, it's like motive, intention, inclination. What are we really, how do we really control ourselves to bear the right fruit? I bit into an apple once that was at some hotel, you know, free breakfast. It looks nice and shiny and colorful on the outside. You bit in, the outer quarter inch of this apple was nice colored apple meat. But the entire inner core was rotten, brown, slimy, and it's like, oh God. The only reason it looked good on the outside is because of all the preservatives they had put in it. This thing was filthy and not fit to eat. Even the part that looked good, I knew I shouldn't eat because it was only looking that way because of the preservatives, the chemicals. This apple itself was horrible. Worth to be thrown away, not to be eaten. Same story. But what's this Shemini Atzeret? Well, it's the letter Zadi, which is a sprout. Some people